In a shocking primetime outburst, Meghan Markle erupted into a volatile tirade against the creators of South Park after the iconic satirical series mercilessly parodied the former royal during its season premiere. The Duchess of Sussex was appearing on CBS's Person to Person for what was supposed to be a fluffy, image-reviving interview. However, the sit-down went off the rails into sheer bedlam when the host pressed her about a South Park episode that seemed to question whether her children Archie and Lilibet actually exist. "How dare you even insinuate that I would be sick enough to fake having kids?" Meghan yelled after anchor Norah O'Donnell broached the animated parody that aired just 2 nights earlier. "Do you have literally any idea how offensive and deranged that sounds?" O'Donnell appeared stunned by the outpouring of rage from the normally poised Duchess, having only gently raised the satirical depiction to get Meghan's reaction about being lampooned yet again as an attention-seeking grifter. However, even this tame inquiry caused the former Suits actress to fly into an apoplectic fit of anger, completely derailing the live interview before a stunned studio audience. "This is exactly the kind of distortion and denial of truth that caused all my mental health struggles over there," she screeched, face turning bright red as her voice surged to stratospheric decibels. "Week after week, we get the same debunked, misogynistic, frankly racist lies regurgitated across global media unchecked just to reinforce racist cult stereotypes about me." At this juncture, O'Donnell frantically attempted steering the sit-down back on course by changing directions, but Meghan was too far gone down her rabbit hole of outrage. The uncontrollable furor saw her begin verbally lashing any and all perceived enemies through the television camera's unblinking lens in what could only be described as a cataclysmic public meltdown. "South Park hiding behind satire to spout conspiracy theories about my children is just vile, though certainly no more vile than the Dutch royal family getting away with staging a prank videotape to mock me while smiling in blackface," she seethed, launching into a tangent about another controversy centering around disputed racist imagery of which few were aware. "Or how about the Windsors obliterating my cult reputation with their aides lurking on internet hate forums regurgitating lies about my fake pregnancy and so-called surrogate kids? Hell, even my own family enabled Oprah for ambushes fit for Jerry Springer by leaving breadcrumbs about my fictitious wombless state." The dizzying array of reactionary denunciations ensnaring seemingly every public figure or entity who had perpetuated any perceived injustice against the Duchess sparked a feeding frenzy of hyperbole. Stern-faced staffers began rushing over and gesticulating futilely in a desperate bid to restrain the full-fledged meltdown spiraling hopelessly out of control on live television. However, Meghan remained single-mindedly focused on dismantling all sources responsible for purportedly defaming her maternal credibility with what she described as blatantly false and malicious falsehoods. "The hatred runs so sickeningly deep from the dark forces long persecuting me," she hissed with utter contempt, perverting her normally angelic features. Whether the Dutch had every tiny ludicrous detail of their little film lined up with Buckingham Palace's sources or not, the fact remains that we still live in a world slurring my devotion as a mother based on reductive stereotypes about women of color. O'Donnell appeared utterly helpless to reroute the runaway trajectory of the interview, by that point little more than a scorched earth monologue of sheer unfiltered grievance. CBS was forced to burn through multiple commercial breaks while psychologically tortured producers scurried behind the scenes trying to regain control of their malfunctioning talent. And yet even after the hastily assembled damage control team attempted mediating, Meghan only re-emerged from the respite periods doubling down on her already incendiary claims of racial animus fueling global conspiracies against her very womanhood. In several profanity-laced tirades unfit for broadcast, she variously tarred personalities across the entertainment, political and media landscapes as unabashed bigots enabling the perpetuation of insidious tropes about women of color and their reproductive capacities. "You have no actual idea about the daily gauntlet of microaggressions and dog whistles raining down oppression on me from every echo chamber," she shrieked into the camera while jabbing her finger accusatorily at some unseen target. One day it's a fake belly prosthetic rumor from nameless internet ghouls, the next it's a white male satirist from Colorado mocking my existence as a mother gleefully proliferating lurid infertility rumors for cheap riches. I'm supposed to just roll over and accept this cyclical humiliation, erasing my femininity as mere collateral damage of the outrage industrial complex? Not a chance. At one point, Meghan even alleged that the incendiary South Park had been deliberately smuggled and amplified disinformation ultimately traced back to the firm itself in a covert propaganda effort to invalidate her maternal authenticity. This launched her into a callback diatribe resurrecting old conspiracy theories that the royal family routinely coordinates media hit jobs via dark money channels and untraceable inauthentic web personas across online chat rooms, Reddit threads and anonymous message boards. You can't convince me they aren't once again reprising their MI5 bag of tricks, deploying their legions of anonymous troll farm sock puppets and poisoning yet another well, she fumed, somehow managing to remain coherent even as spittle began flying in frothy clumps. The timing alone with that cartoon smear campaign reeks of something cooked up by those hostage royalist crisis managers desperately trying to discredit me ahead of my husband's book finally torpedoing their lies. Ultimately, after nearly 2 hours of incoherent train wrecking, producers were left with no choice but to hastily pull the plug on Person-to-Person's catastrophic broadcast. While the network initially mulled airing heavily edited Megatron-style excerpts, they reportedly decided even this futile exercise would serve little purpose beyond exacerbating the full-scale PR debacle. Instead, CBS swiftly shifted into crisis mode, attempting to control damage after the Duchess of Sussex publicly immolated what should have been an easy fluff piece. According to inside sources, Meghan remained in full meltdown mode even after the cameras stopped rolling. She had to be physically separated from staffers by her security team while ranting about how the network had somehow conspired with Buckingham Palace cutouts to ambush her for ratings through a series of planted bad faith questions. Making matters worse, Prince Harry himself reportedly called from the family's Montecito home in an equal frenzy, suggesting she should have walked off set at the first inkling of targeted trickery. This was supposed to be your comeback, Christing, on a prized broadcast platform, finally seizing the initiatives on your own terms, and instead you allowed yourselves getting housebroken like utterly pathetic King Charles poodles lapping up the marrow from anti-Sussex toadies, the enraged Duke allegedly bellowed at his handlers. What possible recourse for redress do we have left before justice gets fully